that feeling of spinning your wheels, right? You should be saving more, maybe getting a handle on debt, finally building that emergency fund. You tell yourself, okay, this month will be different, but then, life happens, you look up, and nothing's really changed much.
Oh, yeah.
If that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely not alone.
Absolutely. It's a super common experience, and honestly, it's often not about lacking willpower. It's more about not having a clear, structured approach.
Right.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive into smart financial goals today. Think of it like a shortcut, maybe, to a framework that can genuinely change how you manage your money.
Exactly. So we're going to explore what actually makes a goal smart. Why this method is so powerful. And it's more than just like common sense. There's data behind it.
Right.
We'll look at how you can start applying it, like today. See it in action with some real life examples, flag some of the usual stumbling blocks.
Yeah, the pitfalls.
The pitfalls, exactly. And even look at some pretty cool new tools that can give you an edge. The goal here is really to give you a concrete plan, a blueprint, to take charge of your finances.
Okay, let's maybe start with a little bit of context. Because while it seems kind of obvious now, this whole idea of actively setting financial goals, well, it's relatively recent for most people.
Yeah.
Historically, formal financial planning, that was often something for the wealthy, the elite.
Right. Not for everyday folks. And it really wasn't until, the later part of the 20th century with financial literacy movements gaining steam.
Exactly. Post-70s, really.
This idea became more mainstream. People started realizing, hey, I need to take a proactive role here, planning, setting targets.
And that's kind of where the SMART framework comes in. Interestingly, it wasn't actually designed for personal finance at first.
Oh.
No, a guy named George T. Doran introduced it back in 1981. It was in a paper about management planning. But its principles were so clear, so practical.
It just worked.
It got picked up quickly and became like a cornerstone for setting effective goals in all sorts of fields, including, obviously, our finances.
And what's amazing is even with all the fancy tech we have today, those basic SMART principles, still incredibly relevant, like bedrock stuff for good financial habits in this, constantly changing world.
Totally.
So, okay, let's break down that acronym, SMART.
Let's do it. So, S is for specific. This means getting really, really clear on exactly what you want to achieve. No more fuzziness. Like they say, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right?
Right. A wish.
Yeah.
Then M is for measurable. How are you going to track your progress? You need metrics, numbers. How will you know you're getting closer or when you've actually hit the target if you can't measure it?
You can't manage it. Simple as that.
Exactly. Next up, A for achievable. This is the reality check part. Your goal should push you, but it also has to be, possible. Given where you are right now, your income, your situation, sense yourself up to win.
Setting realistic goals is key. Then R is relevant. This one's super important, I think. Does this goal actually line up with what you need financially? With your values, your bigger life plans? It needs to connect to your why.
Or why, yeah. If it doesn't matter to you deep down, you won't stick with it.
Exactly. And finally, T is for time-bound. Every good goal needs a deadline, a target date. It creates that sense of urgency, keeps you on track. A goal is just a dream with a deadline.
Love that. Okay, let's make this real. Think about the difference. Saying, I want to save some money. Okay, that's nice.
Vague.
Very vague. Versus, I will save Rs, $10,000 every single month for the next 12 months. Why? To build a Rs, $120,000 emergency fund. By when?
Yeah.
By May 2026. See the difference? It just feels so much more solid.
Absolutely. Or, the classic, I want to get out of debt. Okay, great intention. But compare that to, I will pay off Rs, $5,000 of my credit card debt every month for the next 10 months until it's gone. That's a plan.
That's a plan. So why are these SMART goals so much better? Well, first off, they kill that vagueness we talked about. No more ambiguity. You know exactly what you're shooting for. That clarity is like step one.
And that clarity, it directly feeds your motivation. When you can actually see the progress, saving that specific amount, watching the debt number tick down, it gives you this real sense of accomplishment. Keeps you going.
Like mini wins along the way.
Exactly, mini wins. Plus, having these SMART goals, they act like a filter for your spending decisions. When you know you need X amount by Y date, it's suddenly easier to prioritize, to say no to stuff that doesn't align.
Helps you put your money where your mouth is, basically.
Pretty much. And ultimately, doing this consistently, applying SMART goals, it just builds better financial habits. The structure, the accountability, it makes it way more likely those good behaviors stick and become, well, automatic.
Yeah, it becomes your new normal. And check this out. There's actual research on this. A study from Dominican University found that people who wrote down their goals and shared them with someone, they had a 76% higher chance of achieving them.
Wow, 76%.
Yeah, which totally highlights that specificity and accountability piece baked into the SMART system.
Okay, so hopefully you're seeing the value here. Now let's get practical. How do you actually start using this for your own money?
Right, the how-to. Step one is some honest self-reflection. You've got to really think about your financial priorities. Ask yourself the tough questions. What really matters to me financially right now? Is it saving for something big, like a house, a car? Is retirement the main thing? Is it getting rid of that debt that's stressing me out? Or maybe it's just building that safety net, that emergency fund. What's causing the most anxiety?
Once you've got a handle on your main priorities, the next step is translating those broad desires into the specific SMART components. Let's use that saving for down payment example again.
Okay, so instead of just, I want to save for a house someday, you make it specific. I want to save RCI $1 billion for a home down payment. Boom, specific.
Then measurable. How will I do that? I will save Rs $50,000 per month. Now you have a number to track, a benchmark.
Next, is it achievable? This is where you got to be real. Have you actually looked at your budget, your income, your expenses? Can you realistically carve out that $50K each month? Might need some tweaking, Ryder.
Definitely requires looking at the numbers. And then relevant. Does buying a home actually fit with your long-term plans, your family goals, your values? Making sure it's relevant gives you that deeper drive when things get tough. People often stumble if the goal doesn't truly matter to them.
Good point. Finally, time-bound. I aim to hit my Rs $1 million goal in 20 months. That sets the deadline, creates the urgency. No Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time available. A deadline helps fight that.
Exactly. It focuses the mind. Okay, so you've defined your SMART goal. Awesome. The next critical step is thinking about the tools and strategies to, well, help you stick to it.
Yeah, the support system. And luckily, we have some great budgeting apps these days. Things like YNAB, Mint. Locally, Hisab Kitab is pretty popular, right? I think it even has an AI planner now.
It does, yeah. AI is creeping into everything. And look, don't knock the simple stuff either. Manual tracking, a good old Excel spreadsheet, or maybe a Google sheet you share with a partner. Seeing it written down can be super motivating.
Totally. And something really powerful, automation. Set up those automatic transfers. Money goes from your checking to your savings or investment account right after payday. Out of sight, out of mind. Takes the effort out.
Huge fan of automation. And lastly, think about accountability. Maybe tell a trusted friend or family member, someone who will check in. Or you could even work with a financial coach, get some expert guidance.
Right. Now, even with the best plan, life happens, doesn't it? Things change. That's why it's so important to regularly review your SMART goals. We suggest, at least quarterly, every 3 months.
Yeah, quarterly is a good rhythm. Your income might go up or down. Your priorities might shift. Maybe you have a kid or decide to go back to school. Unexpected expenses pop up. Looking at your goals regularly lets you tweak them so they stay realistic and relevant.
Keeps them alive, basically, not set in stone. Okay, so now you've got the framework, how to set them up, how to track them. Let's maybe look at some real-world examples, see how this works for different people at different life stages.
Good idea. So for, say, students or young professionals just starting out, a solid SMART goal could be save Rs $300,000 for higher education within 2 years by saving $12,500 monthly in a high-yield savings account. Clear, actionable.
Nice. High-yield account, good tip there, earns a bit more interest. What about newly married couples?
Okay, for them, maybe a foundational goal is building that emergency fund. Like, build a Rs $500,000 emergency fund in 18 months, with each of us contributing about Rs $14,000 per month. That safety net is crucial when you're combining finances.
So important. Okay, families with kids, education costs are huge.
Huge. So a goal might look like save Rs $1.2 million for our child's school fees over the next 4 years. How? By saving Rs $25,000 monthly and maybe investing it in some low-risk mutual funds.
Mutual funds, okay. Pooling money, diversifying a bit. Maybe even those target date funds could work there.
Yeah, those can be good too. They adjust risk automatically as the date gets closer. Smart option.
Okay, mid-career folks, maybe tackling debt is the big one.
Often is. So a goal could be eliminate our $600,000 of personal debt in 12 months. The plan. Make consistent payments of ours $50,000 monthly, hitting the highest interest debt first. That's the key save on
The
interest.
snowball or avalanche method, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. And finally, people looking ahead to retirement, pre-retirees.
Big goal there, usually. Maybe. Build a retirement corpus of ours $10 million over the next 15 years. How? Invest ours $40,000 per month in a diversified mix, mutual funds, pension plans, maybe some stocks. Diversification is key for long-term growth and managing risk.
Got it. Okay, these examples are great, really concrete. But, setting the goal is one thing. Sticking to it when life gets messy, that's where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about common hurdles.
Yeah, the challenges are real. One big one. Setting unrealistic expectations right at the start. You get all fired up, set this massive savings goal, but it's just not doable with your current income. Leads to burnout.
Been there. Another tough one, especially for freelancers or small business owners, income instability. Hard to commit to saving, say, $20K a month when your income fluctuates wildly.
Definitely tricky. And then there's just sometimes a lack of financial literacy. People honestly don't know where to start, how to track things properly. It feels overwhelming, so they just stop.
Yeah, that overwhelm is powerful. And let's not forget the emotional side of money. Emotional spending, buying stuff based on feelings, stress, boredom, whatever, instead of needs, that can derail any plan fast.
Oh, absolutely. But the good news is there are strategies for these. For those unrealistic expectations, try a budgeting rule, like 50-30-20, 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings debt. It helps ground you.
Okay, that gives you a framework. What about the unstable income?
For that, maybe create a bare minimum version of your goal. So your target is 20K, but in a tight month, you commit to at least saving something, maybe 5K. Keeps the momentum going, consistency over quantity sometimes.
Right, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And if you feel lost, that financial literacy gap.
There are so many free resources now. Coursera, YouTube channels dedicated to finance. Often your own bank has workshops or online materials. Just start learning. Small steps.
Good point. And the emotional spending monster.
Mindfulness helps there. Try to notice why you want to buy something impulsively. What's the feeling? And then build in a cooling off period. Wait 24 hours before buying non-essentials. Often, the urge passes.
The 24-hour rule. Classic. We actually have a great real-world story about someone who tackled these challenges.
Oh,
Aisha from Lahore.
Ah, yes. Aisha's story is fantastic. She had, $800,000 in credit card debt, a huge amount. But she got serious about using the SMART framework.
Totally serious. She set a specific monthly payment target. She used a budgeting app religiously, tracking every single rupee. She even picked up freelance writing gigs on the side to boost her income.
That hustle.
Right? And she reviewed her progress obsessively, like every 2 weeks.
And the result. Paid off the entire $800K in just 14 months. Incredible. Plus, she saved something like $120,000 in interest she didn't have to pay.
Amazing. And now the kicker, she's actually coaching other people online to help them hit their financial goals. Talk about turning things around.
It really shows what's possible with structure and commitment. And speaking of what's possible, technology is playing a bigger and bigger role in helping us with these goals, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Looking ahead, like 2025 and beyond, digital tools are making smart goal setting even easier and, frankly, smarter.
Yeah, one trend is these AI-powered budgeting assistants. You mentioned Hisab Kitab's AI planner. There's also Clio, Copilot.
Yeah.
They analyze your spending, predict expenses, and can even suggest personalized goals for you.
Kind of creepy, kind of cool.
A bit of both. Then there's the whole gamification of saving, making it fun. Platforms like Goalwise, Capital, Money, they use levels, rewards, streaks, game mechanics to make saving feel less like a chore.
Yeah, tapping into that competitive spirit maybe. And community support is big too, right? Online groups.
Definitely. WhatsApp groups, Telegram channels, people sharing progress, keeping each other motivated. And there are even these micro-coaching platforms popping up. Get affordable, short coaching sessions focused just on your goals, maybe like Ars 500 a session, makes coaching more accessible.
Interesting. And investing is changing too. Robo-advisors.
Yeah, platforms like Elphinstone, AKD Trade, HBL Invest, they're shifting. It's less about just selling you funds and more about helping you define specific goals, retirement, buying a car, and then building the investment plan around that goal. Much more personalized.
Okay, lots of cool tools out there. Now, we've been pretty positive about SMART goals, but it's only fair to look at the other side. There are criticisms, right? It's not perfect for everyone or every situation.
That's true. A balanced view is important. One common knock is that it can feel too rigid. Life throws curveballs, things change fast, and a strict SMART plan might not flex easily enough.
Yeah, you set a goal for 12 months, and then month 3, you lose your job. What then?
Exactly. Another critique is that maybe it limits ambition. By focusing so much on achievable, does it stop people from setting those really big, hairy, audacious goals? Those reach for the stars kind of dreams.
I can see that. Aiming for realistic might mean aiming lower overall.
Potentially. And finally, some argue it doesn't deal enough with the emotional, psychological side of money we talked about earlier. You know, our beliefs, our habits, our anxieties around finances. It's very logical, very structured, maybe too much so for some.
Okay, fair points. But there are ways to counter these, or at least manage them, right?
Absolutely. That rigidity issue, that's where the regular review comes in. That quarterly check-in we recommended, that is the flexibility mechanism. You adjust as needed. It's not meant to be set in stone.
Right. The review is key. And limiting ambition thing.
Well, you can think of SMART goals as stepping stones. Maybe your huge, audacious goal is, I don't know, financial independence in 10 years. You break that down into smaller, achievable, SMART goals, pay off debt this year, save X amount next year, etc. They build towards the big vision.
Okay, so they're tools towards ambition, not limits on it. And the emotional part.
You just need to combine SMART with other techniques. Use the structure of SMART, but also do things like money journaling, writing down your feelings about spending, or practice mindful budgeting. Layer those approaches.
Makes sense. Use SMART for the what and how, but add other tools for the why and the how I feel about it.
Exactly. Because ultimately, setting SMART financial goals, it's really about more than just hitting numbers. It's about gaining that feeling of control, reducing stress, making sure your money is actually working for the life you want, aligning finances with values.
Yeah, it's about empowerment, really.
Right.
And the beauty of the SMART system is its simplicity, its flexibility. You can tailor it to pretty much any situation, just starting out, family finances, retirement planning, whatever.
Totally adaptable.
Yeah.
So if you've been feeling that frustration, that spinning your wheels thing we started with, and you're not sure where to begin, we really encourage you, try the SMART framework.
Yeah, just start. Pick one thing.
Pick one thing. Start today. Commit to checking in on it regularly. And you might just find that financial clarity, that sense of being in charge, it's much closer than you think.
So we'll leave you with this question to mull over. What is one SMART financial goal that you will commit to setting today? Just one.
And if you want to go even deeper, think about these. How can you really make sure your SMART goals connect to your bigger life vision? What are the best budgeting tools for you right now to track these goals? And if you're in a relationship, how can you and your partner set joint goals smoothly without, starting World War III?
Important questions. Lots to think about as you start putting your own SMART plan into action.